This is the online room, but you are allowed to shop in it.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to, once again, another early morning Sunday show. Something to show you here. Hold on. There you go. There. Look at that. There was Massey had a rhetorical question of Vizzy, Norman Maslov. Take a look at his channel. He's a funny guy. But the question came up: when is this really filmed out there? You know, is it done earlier? Is it just put out for Sunday morning? No, folks. I am that guy. When you walk into an office and it's early in the morning and someone's whistling and someone's giving high fives, oh, hey, how you doing? That is me. At 4 o'clock, 4 a.m., folks. I'm out of bed. Day off, work, it don't matter. Usually I get up at 4 a.m. I read my book. I start reading. That's kind of my reading time. I may even take a nap by 6 o'clock. And then get ready and get going for the day. So I love mornings. Mornings are the best. Birds are up, they're singing. Actually, I beat the birds up. That's just how it works in my life. And also, my back really hurts bad. By about 2 a.m., I'm going, oh, God, moving pillows. But, oh, well. This week, all right, the opening, I had this honey hole that I call. It's in Rivesville, West Virginia. And so the opening, I showed pictures of the record store there, Ascension Records, which is in that cool little church. To get to Rivesville, there is no easy way. This thing, it was made as an online place. And the roads, twisty, windy, average speed about 35 miles an hour through the mountains of West Virginia. The town itself is scary. If you had to stay there overnight, you'd swear you're going to be killed. Someone's going to come up and slice your throat or something. It was Friday, and so the bikers were I guess there is a bikers bar there, and there were a lot of bikers coming into that town. But wow, it's fascinating. I'd like to know the history of it better. Obviously, the manufacturing's all gone. The thing's just gone into decay, but there's Ascension Records. It was fun to get there to talk to the people in the place. They're really nice, and they're wondering where I've been. Well, I don't have West Virginia anymore as part of my area, but it was good to get in there. I made a way to get there to see them. Today's records, I think I can pronounce every name. This is amazing. I didn't even pick it that way to say. I'm only going to pick out stuff that I can pronounce. Now, in my mind, I can pronounce every one of these with 95% confidence. There's one of them that might have a first name that just might throw me off a little bit. But you guys will let me know. So let's get going. Couple quick shout outs here. Chris, Blues Vinyl Guy, he did a really nice video. I believe it was on Friday, and it was on Elmore James, for those that like the blues. Elmore James is one of my very best favorite bluesmen. He didn't produce a lot, regretfully it came out later in his life, but he made some of the best music. Dust My Broom obviously is his biggest hit. Chris did a great job with that video. It was really interesting. So Chris, well done. Everyone else, check it out. Chris only has a little over 100 people subs, so please check him out. Also, Dead Vinyl is a new person that I am watching out there. His videos, he has about 32 subs. And Robert Fither, I believe I'm saying it right, F-I-T-H-E-R. You were not counted as a name that I can pronounce in my record stack, so Robert, but he has about 30 subs. I'll put their names down below. Check them out. Some newer channels. There's a lot of new channels I am watching. I try to watch as many as humanly possible. So, see what you think. All right. We start with the transition already. Saying all right. The first album up to show this week is Oneness of Juju. Got this from Music on Vinyl, I believe is where I got this. Oneness of Juju, and really the brainchild of Oneness of Juju is a guy named James Plunky. Yes, that's right. Plunky Brow. No, Branch. What the hell? Oh, man. Yeah, Branch. I think it's Branch. James Plunky Branch. There we go. All ready. This guy, so James was, in 1969, he went to San Francisco. He was a conscientious objector out of New York. Well, being a conscientious objector, you can get arrested. So, where do you go if you don't want to get arrested? Head to San Francisco during the Vietnam War, where everyone else was going, and kind of get lost in the crowd, which is what he did. So he went down there. Well, he began getting into avant-garde music, Sun Ra, Alice Coltrane, and he wanted to do his own kind of thing. Well, San Francisco really didn't have the scene for this avant-garde music, so he eventually moved back to New York to really get it going. And he started, first it was called Juju, then the group changed to Oneness of Juju, and this is his second album, Chapter 2. And finally it turned into, whatever you call it, Plunky and Oneness of Juju. What he did is, he started the group, but then he also began making his own kind of record company. He wanted to have an all African American label, wanted stuff to be produced by African Americans for African American artists. And so he kind of went the opposite way. I have a group, and now let's find a way to get my music out, which is what he did. And this guy was really prolific. He besides being a performer, he was a college professor. He taught in the city of Richmond, in Virginia. What else? He's been a producer. He's done work with movies. Just really a lot of different things. So he's had a neat life. It's jazz, but it has a lot of African elements. It's off some smoky vinyl. It comes with, there's where I need my Jamie Cottle. Here to show my book. I do not have Cat here today to bother me. He's had to let him outside already, take a pee or something. It's a nice book that really kind of goes through James Plunky Branch's life. Not so much his life, but what he was doing and what he wanted to do and what he was trying to accomplish, especially with the Oneness of Juju. So it's always nice when you get that little extra, isn't it? This came out in 1974. I did enjoy it. Again, it is a little more, of the avant-garde by way of Africa, with the instrumentation and things that were used. So nice listen, and I hope you enjoy the sample of this. Oscar and the Majestics. This came out on Record Store Day. Oscar and the Majestics was a garage band that came out of Gary, Indiana. They were formed in 1964 and went to about 1969. Actually, 1960 they were formed. The man that formed them was the guitar player, and his name was Oscar Hammond. So Oscar also brought in his brothers Sam and Bud. Isn't just the name Bud. I like that. You think of those Budweiser frogs. That just grabs my mind. Hey, here's my brother Sam. Here's my brother Bud. But they formed the group. Well, Bud didn't last long, and so some other members came in. These guys became really big out in the Northwest. They had their version of House of the Rising Sun that did quite well. Uh, this album is a bunch of their unreleased material or outtakes that they have. Fuzz guitar was their deal, and so what Gary would do is he would take his amp and put it close to the speaker, and then he would get that fuzz tone sound going on, which is what he was trying to get at. So it was garage rock, and it's Rush's 60s garage rock. Isn't 60s garage rock the best? I really wish it was easier to find, or you see it slowly coming out in different, as they reissue it. So much good music came out of this. These guys, again, they lasted till about 69, and then that was it. But this was a neat pickup, fairly fun to listen to. Oscar and the Majestics, rare and unissued cuts. Good stuff. In the background today, we are playing Shovels and Rope. This is from Oh Be Joyful. In my hand right now, I have Shovels and Rope. This came out, I believe it was last year. It was last year. It's a 3-album set. Shovels and Rope consists of 2 people, Michael Trent and Carrie Ann Hurst. Carrie Ann Hurst, she came from Mississippi area, and Michael Trent, he came out of Denver. Well, they met in 2002. I believe Carrie walked into a bar down in Charleston, South Carolina. That's where they had gone to school. And she heard this guy playing, liked this guy. They began talking. They began to collaborate. Well, in 2008, they put out their first album, and it was going to be a one and done. Hey, we did an album, one and done, and that's it. And then we're going to go our separate ways. Well, in 2009, they wound up getting married, so I guess they decided to not go their separate ways. This album here has 2 of their solo albums, and it's called, the name of this album, probably should call it, it's called Predecessors. So, I think that's a fitting name, isn't it? Predecessors. There's the 2010 album that came from Michael called Lions and Lambs, and Carrie has a 2011 album called The Winner. Then there's the Archives, which is the 3rd album, which is on white vinyl, and that has different kind of unreleased, some outtakes. The recording quality isn't as good on that, though. There's some interesting things that I thought about. They do Judy is a Punk, second verse, same as the first from the Ramones. Would have been fun to have done. These guys, they are country rock, they're rock and roll, folk rock. It goes into that whole genre. Americana, I guess, would be probably the best thing to say. They play almost all the instruments, the drums and the guitar, like they had horns going on. Okay, so someone else can play the horns, a little synthesizer, but for the most part, they're a duo that play the music. Really, I enjoy Shovels and Rope. Last year I have some test pressings from Shovels and Rope. It's just a fun group, here. See them there having fun. So, fun pickup to hear their early works. Is it essential Shovels and Rope? Not really, but great stuff. Growing up in the 60s, one of the key songs, when I say growing up, we're talking non-teenage years. My teenage years was the 70s, but in the 60s is when I first began to hear music. And there was one song, a few songs that stuck out, but this one, I'm Henry the Eighth, I am, I'm Henry the Eighth, I am. You know, I didn't hear it often, but the couple times I heard it, it stuck in my brain my whole life. Well, it was done by Herman and the Hermits. And this is Herman and the Hermits. This is their 6th album. This one is called Blaze. These guys were formed in 1964, and they're still performing to this day. They're really out there and going. People still like Herman and the Hermits. The reason probably why I heard more of these, when they started, they were hooked up with Mickey Most to manage him. Now Mickey Most has he's an interesting guy. I'd like to read more about him. You know, there's groups that actually hate him. Some say he helped. Whatever the case is. Mickey Most, he wanted to create a group that was clean cut, that was non-confrontational. He wanted to make a safe group for my parents to say it's okay for my kids to listen to that. And he did. He came up with Herman and the Hermits. I mean, name one bad thing of Hermans and the Hermits have done. Unless you're really know, it's hard to say. It comes off, this is off the MGM label. Well, Blaze, this came out in 1967. I'm not a huge Herman and the Hermits fan. Just be honest, you don't see a lot about them. You can find their music really inexpensive. Their albums, generally they're well loved. You know, they did Mrs. Brown, You Have a Lovely Daughter, which was a huge hit, and obviously Henry VIII, I Am. This one, they've evolved, and they kind of got away from more of that kiddie-ish crap. And actually, even one of the songs I'm going to play, no, I'm not playing this. Am I playing that one? Oh, hell, I don't even know what I'm playing on this one. The Moonshine Man is their attempt, that's what I'm playing. Moonshine Man is their attempt into the psychedelic music. And you can hear it, you know, the little distortion and fuzz. They have a song called Museum. This was a good listen. I have a couple other Hermits and the Hermits, and they just, you know, they just sit there in despair on the shelf saying, oh, will someone play me someday? Someday I will. But, yeah, it's nothing that I would grab at. I liked this one, and I thought Blaze was well done and found it, you know, to be quite good. The critics liked Blaze, too. It got really nice critical acclaim, but it just didn't do much. In fact, it wasn't even released in the UK. How about that? Just in the US. So obviously Hermits and Hermits was doing better in the US than in the UK. So nice pickup. Chris, Tunes from the Man Cave, he just had his contest. Over 500 subs now after that. He had recently done a video on Clifford Brown. This is a trumpet player that he really likes. He had an extra one. So, you know, I talked, so we reached out and I was able to purchase it from him. Clifford Brown and the All-Stars. And this is on long playing high fidelity MRC label. So Clifford Brown and the All-Stars. Clifford Brown had a really short life. 25 years, that's it. Born in 1930, died in 1956 before his 26th birthday. He came from a very musical family. His dad was a trumpet player. There was 4 kids. In fact, his dad formed the 4 children into a singing quartet. Kind of remind me of my dad did that with us. There was 5 of us. Actually, my youngest sister, she was about 10 years older, but she was still there. And once a month, we would have to go down to the nursing home in Central City, Nebraska, town of 2,500 people. And the singing Carlson family, I think I mentioned this before, the Von Carlson family would go to the nursing home, and we would sing for the little ladies and the little old men. It was like the worst day of my month. Now I know the importance of it. I'm old. I kind of wait for kids to come sing to me in a non-creepy kind of way. I'm not quite there yet. But at that time, I was like, oh, Lord, we got to go do this. And they want to hug and kiss, and they smell, and ay. I get the importance, but as a kid, you sure don't. Well, I don't know if they went to the nursing home, and as usual, I digress. But, this album came out in 1956. It was actually made in 1954. So Clifford Brown, he went to college, and he was studying math. He had an auto accident, though, and this was in 1950. He was laid up for a long time. Dizzy Gillespie would come and visit him and kind of pushed him into making music. He says, no, you need to change your career path and get into music, because he was such a good trumpet player. And he did. And so he got with Max Roach, and they formed a band together. It was Clifford Brown and Max Roach. When they did this, Clifford Brown, the All-Stars, and they had some different people playing on it. And, it's great jazz. It's hard bop jazz, which is a little different than the bebop. You get a little more soul going on. Well, he died in 56 in a car accident. Wow. It's like, well, we didn't get you the first time, but we're going to get you the second time. Actually, they were driving to another place. I think it was a friend or a band member's wife was driving the car. It was late at night, and Clifford Brown was sleeping in the back with the husband. Lost control of the car and crashed, and they all died. Really sad, and we lost somebody. This man didn't do drugs. Didn't do alcohol. Think about that. Jazz in the 1950s, and he refused to do drugs. He refused to do alcohol. All these other guys survived all that. He didn't do it, and the car took him. Really sad. 25 years. Really nice album. I enjoyed this album. It was really good. I like Clifford Brown. I can't say I knew a lot about him, but Chris had a really good video on him, which introduced me, and I was glad I got this. Clifford Brown and the All-Stars. A few weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, who knows how long, I showed JoJo Gunn. JoJo Gunn's first album. I was unaware of JoJo Gunn. Since that time, JoJo Gunn did 4 albums. I have found, this is JoJo Gunn. This is their second album. And this one is called something. Jumpin'. What is it called, damn it? Bite Down Hard. This one's called Bite Down Hard. I don't know where I was getting jumping at. Bite Down Hard, and this one came in 1973 off, see there, Asylum Records. And then we had Jumpin' the Gun here. And Jumpin' the Gun, this one came out in, gee whiz, 73 also. So JoJo Gunn's first album did pretty good. It charted decently. Their second album came out, Bite Down Hard. Oh, that's the back side of it. So when their second one came out, it didn't do quite as good. It made it just into the top 75, but still it sold. Then their third album came out, and it didn't do well. Bite Down Hard. The reason why they say it didn't do well is the cover art. That don't look too bad. I mean, that doesn't look bad. And then you open the gatefold. What were they thinking? And then you open the middle. All right. These guys were having fun, but a pig, a heavyset woman, people did not really find the humor in this. And of course, everything's written on her about the album. This thing sank like a lead balloon. It just, who said that's a great idea? Wow, you guys, that's the bestest thought ever. You know, it's like, I'm sure the White Album, they were saying, well, look at the White Album off Asylum Records also. The White Album did great. It's just a White Album, so let's do this. We're going to put a real heavy-set lady on there naked, flying above the bed. They did one more album. That was it. That was the end of JoJo Gunn because of stupidity on graphics, and people just lost interest. And, you know, it's basic rock, okay? It's just decent rock. Jay Ferguson was the lead guitarist. Actually, Jay Ferguson and Mark Andes came here from Spirit. They left the group Spirit, and they started JoJo Gunn. After this, Jay Ferguson took off on his solo career, which I enjoyed the first couple albums. So, stupidity of packaging, shall we say. What are you going to do? I can't play a sample of JoJo Gunn. That's such classic rock that it's blocked by YouTube. Yeah. All right. Oh, said all right again. Transition. Don't do it. Anton Dvorak. Dollar bin, fine. But there's such good classical that you can find out there in the dollar bin. You know, channels like Sound Strange, Rob from Sound Strange, Chris Keebler's channel, Michael Dawson hooks me up to a lot of this. A few others, you know, do classical. They really focus on it. Not enough is said about, you know, this important music. Well, Anton Dvorak, he was 1841, died in 1904, and he was from Czechoslovakia. He was one of 14 children. Actually, only 8 survived infancy. Big family, but they all had big family. He was part of the Romantic era, Romantic classicist. By age 6, he was accomplished on the violin. He learned to play piano. He learned to play organ. When he was 31 years old, his first major symphony was performed. He went to competitions, won several of the competitions in Austria as best composer, and one of the judges was Brahms. Well, this is his 5th symphony. This was made in 1875. Joyful symphony, very happy. I like that. You know, again, that's just my kind of deal, because I'm a morning guy. I like joy, right? And it was a really neat one. I did not have, actually, I only have probably one other Dvorak album. For Buck, really, I mean, it's clean. It was nice. It was in great shape. Couldn't go wrong with that. It was from, oh, this is interesting, Carlton Center, Johannesburg. Wow, fascinating. All right. Dvorak, he wound up going to London for a while, and he came to the U.S. and played at our National Conservatory there in New York City, 1892 to 1895. And get this, in 1892 they paid him $15,000 to come. That is an incredible sum of money back then. I mean, blows my mind. In 1981, I started my first job out of college in management at $13,000. Dvorak was making more than me way back in 1892. Really interesting. Couple others I just picked up, and I've already talked way too long again. Best of Van Morrison. I've never seen this cover. I thought it was just fascinating. Look at Van the Man there. It's a different cover of Van Morrison, and it was off Bang, and that's why, Morrison got out of Bang, but Bang wanted to keep trying to produce their stuff. He had a contract obligation, so it's just one more way to put Brown Eyed Girl onto something. Morrison was not happy about Bang. He did not like the fact that they were putting out his stuff. What are you going to do? And the final one I picked up, this is from the Sex Pistols. This was from their third show they ever performed. Live music from that show. Comes out of the UK, super flimsy. And on the Fame label. Nice live concert. These guys, they were powerful already. They were just raucous, raw. Just sweat. It is fun album. Really enjoyed this thing. The sound quality was good. I am a Sex Pistols fan, one of my all-time favorite groups. One album and done. Nothing wrong with that. Go big, hit big, blow up. Who cares? Because you made your mark in the history of music. So that was a fun find. I was really excited to have that. Well, here we have her. Once again, we got done. Once again, I went way too long. Most apologies. Hate when I go over 30, but I got some nice sound samples. I want you to hear it. Have a wonderful week. Happy 4th of July to those in the U.S. Happy Canada Day to my friends in Canada. And everyone else, happy July, happy summer. Well, Dean, Ross, happy winter to you down there. Thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. And thank you for subbing. Hit that like thing, that like button. I guess that's a good thing. And please give me a comment. That's what I enjoy the most. Thanks everyone. Bye.